running in a political campaign. I have a hard time seeing him not win it. By the same token, it may be different on the ground. Brave, what's going on, my man? ATL.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning. I just wanted to really quick. Last night, Kim Iversen had Caleb Maupin on.
I saw that.
I just wanted to bring that up and mention to you guys if you had not seen it. Since you have seen it, I'd love to get your take on it. And I take the response.
No, wait. I saw her on it. I didn't see the show, if that makes sense. It was, as you're going through, I saw the fact that he was on it, but I didn't actually see the details of it. So you got to explain it. Yeah.
Well, it was a great conversation. It's primarily focused on, I guess, the book that he's recently done. But it was talking, the conversation we're getting into was about the point that we are at, where, because everybody keeps talking about the empires crumbling and things like that, but they're much more going into the fact that you have all these different elite factions warring against each other, and what they're doing is propagating these different means. I guess I'm paraphrasing my own terminology, right? But they're propagating these different means to get working class people from different groups to fight battles for them, basically. So I guess the good way to sum it up is stirring up a lot of confusion and causing groups to fight on behalf of the elite factions, right? And he drew a very interesting visual of where the left is now versus where, like, say, the left would be in other countries and back in the day, right? Like way back in the day, even breaking down like Marxism and what it was then versus what it is now, and what the left looks at it as. And he made the point that the left today, especially in the West, is not technically the left, which we make that point, I think, all the time, especially as it applies to Washington. But I think the most interesting point from that conversation was how the elite were manipulating or are manipulating the working class into different factions to fight their battles for them against other groups. And I'm probably doing a very terrible job of explaining, of summing up his point last night. But it was really interesting because he made the point of how, like, for instance, people who you would technically believe are on the right and are ultra MAGA, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they're actually fighting for things that would technically be considered as socialists, you know what I'm saying, versus the left, who should be fighting for freedom and fighting, for freedom from tyranny and all this stuff, but they're actually fighting for fascism now. So I'm doing a terrible job of summing it up yet again, but it's a very interesting conversation. I would say anybody that's interested should check it out.
That's interesting because it puts me in mind of a little bit of what Matt Taibbi was saying. Basically, he was more concerned from the standpoint of Democrats, or what nominally in I guess this country would be considered the left, but more concerned about this level of censorship, more concerned about this kind of fascistic takeover in the way that information is appropriated and the way that information is basically censored. That's more of an issue from the standpoint of the left and less so from the right. Of course, the right has their own issues, but in regards to setting up these things where it's like, not only do I disagree with you, I don't want you to even be able to get your point across. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even want your platform. I don't want you to be able to talk. If that means that we can scrub what you get to say, then we're perfectly okay with it. And we're perfectly fine with creating some kind of regime to limit information and to limit your take. Look, in the Twitter files, for example, even on the COVID stuff, they were saying stuff that was true, very true. And yet they would still flag it because their concern was, well, this is going to give ammunition to people who don't believe in so and so and so and so. Even on things that might have been, let's say illnesses or things that may have come from the vaccines of people getting sick or something to that effect. Look, I've made the point of course, those things are going to happen. It is not the totality of it. And if you make a comparison, but Twitter was going to the point of basically saying, yeah, maybe we shouldn't expose this at all, even though it's true.
The willingness to suppress the information.
Right.
And even in instances where, because a lot of things, as we know now, the hindsight is 20/20. Things that we know now, we didn't necessarily know at the beginning, and that should be expected. Mm-hmm. But things that were even, the lack of interest in even debating from among medical professionals, because this was at the time when it was like, trust the science, trust the science, trust the science, but we were only willing to trust certain science. But hey, Brave, go ahead, Brave.
No, I'm sorry. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No. Well, actually, I was just going to ask your comments on that, but I also was going to ask you on your thoughts of the back and forth between Mehdi Hasan and Matt Taibbi.
Yeah.
I've only somewhat seen it. Mehdi sounds an idiot. He's not an idiot. I mean, he's an educated person, but he's an idiot. Come on. So I ain't put much attention in that. I don't expect he's doing exactly what I would expect him to do. If I could, I'd like to also add Manila Chan. I finally got to watch on her channel. She did a breakdown of not only the World Economic Forum but Klaus Schwab. And the reason why I bring it up is it was really. I'm a Chan fan, obviously, but still. Yeah. It was really good. The cool thing about it is the guest that she had speaking. I know you don't have so much time left, but the guest that she had speaking was talking about how the World Economic Forum, obviously going into the history of the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and the Great Narrative.
30 seconds, Barry.
More specifically, going into how the narrative that they're actually promoting comes from U.S. doctrine and the way that the left, yet again, the left, is marching in their actual mission statement, like creating this desire for us to want and accept to want less.
Yeah.
Right? They're marching that forward. So these are things that we should be paying attention to. I would suggest everyone go and check out Manila Chan's piece on World Economic Forum and Kim Iversen's piece with Caleb Maupin, because they're actually tied together, strangely as it may sound.
Yeah. Brave.
I'll leave it there.
Always appreciate your comments, man. Definitely appreciate it. Brave ATL. We have come to the end of another show. I want to thank our producers. I want to thank our engineer. I want to thank Malik Abdul. I want to thank all of you, callers, listeners, etc., whether it's on Rumble or, for that matter, whether it's on the radio. You guys are listening to Fault Lines, Thomas, Abdul, and we will see you bright and early Wednesday morning.